Well, hello everyone, and welcome to The Rent Source. My name is Rachelle, and today I want to talk to you about how an eviction can affect your credit score. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Now, if you've been through an eviction, trying to find a new landlord to rent to you might become a bigger problem than you first expected. How damaging the eviction might be to your credit score will largely depend on how the eviction process ended for you. I will point out that each situation is unique, but in this video, I'll try to cover some commonalities. I will also say that I am not a lawyer, and nothing that I state here should be taken as legal advice. An eviction is the civil process where a landlord can legally remove a tenant from their rental property. An eviction can happen if you stop paying rent or if you break any of the terms of the rental agreement. In general, an eviction notice is a written letter from a landlord to a tenant stating that they have X amount of days to either fix whatever the lease violation is or vacate the premises. Now, at this point, you can either pay the rent, otherwise resolve the breach, or go ahead and just move out on your own accord. If you do this, the eviction process ends here. Now, it is important to point out the fact that in certain scenarios, your landlord may be strongly opposed to you even trying to resolve the issues. He or she may have reason to believe that whatever the breach in the lease agreement was is too egregious for you to try and fix, and they just want you off of their property regardless of what you do next or how you try to fix it. In general, this eviction notice alone usually will not hurt your credit, at least not on its own anyway. But let's continue. So, say for whatever reason you don't pay the rent, you can't pay the rent, cannot resolve the issue, or do not move out voluntarily. Well, at that point, your landlord can take you to court to try to recover the rent or have you put off of the property. If the landlord takes you to court and you either lose or you just don't show up at all, the landlord wins his or her eviction, and now you've got an official court order that allows the landlord to remove you from the property if you don't leave by a certain amount of days. Now, it's important for you to know that this entire process can move very quickly from the day you receive the eviction notice to the day a judge renders his order, and time is not often on your side here. So now, while the eviction judgment does become a matter of public record, the judgment itself generally does not appear on your credit report. They used to appear, but they're not supposed to anymore. And I know that if you are seeing court judgments appearing on your credit report, you should try to dispute them to get them off, but we'll definitely talk about that later. So guys, getting back to the topic, remember that your credit report is only supposed to show your financial debts and your history of paying or not paying off those debts. The chief reason for an eviction is to allow your landlord to terminate your lease and take back their property. So it in and of itself has nothing to do with your financial debts. So it's not going to be on your credit report. So this might lead you to ask, okay, so you know how they always say that the devil is in the details? Well, let's go ahead and jump into those details. Remember how I said that the eviction process is a legal process, and how if the process ends in a judgment against you and a court order, that court order becomes a matter of public record? Well, this is the first way that an eviction can harm your credit score. Okay, so most apartment application background checking software has a mechanism to search public records. And what do you think is one thing that it's searching for? That's right, evictions, of course. So if you're applying at an apartment complex and you have an eviction that's showing up, this is usually going to end up in an automatic denial for you, along with the loss of your application fee. Now, in some cases, you might be asked to provide proof that you've paid off the debt, and they might even accept that proof to get you qualified. But if you didn't pay it, or you don't have the proof in the exact manner that they're requesting, that denial will still stand. Now, simultaneously, if you were evicted because you would not or could not pay rent, or you damaged your former landlord's property in some way, this means that you now owe your former landlord either the rent money or the cost of the damage to the property. Now, while just owing the landlord alone is one thing that may not show up on your credit report, if the landlord sends your account to collections, this will show up on your credit report. And that, my friends, is the second way an eviction can harm your credit score. It'll show up as an unpaid debt, and it can potentially severely reduce your credit score by many points. And then one other thing is the fact that the court may also enter a civil judgment for not only the rent, but also the court fees. And all of those things can just amount to a hefty unpaid debt for you that's showing up on your credit report. So again, remember, it's not the eviction process itself that impacts your credit score. Rather, it's the financial mess that an eviction or potential eviction can leave behind. This is what does the damage. So even if you don't get a court-ordered eviction judgment against you, you still might owe money to the landlord, and your landlord can still send your account to collections because of it, hence causing said damage to your credit score, regardless. So guys, the very first thing that you can do is remember to smash the thumbs up button, because it helps the YouTube algorithm to understand that you like the content, and it helps me to know that I need to keep creating this type of video. But I digress. So guys, clearly the best thing to do in any case is just to be upfront and honest with your landlord from the beginning so that you can avoid the entire eviction process. Now, you probably already know this, and they say this over and over and over again when it comes to monetary issues, and they say it because it's true. Landlords are just people too, and they probably don't even want to have to go through the trouble of kicking you out. As soon as you know you're going to be late with the rent, call your landlord and see if they can come up with a late payment agreement or something like that. Just imagine if you were in their shoes. Wouldn't you want your tenant to come to you to try to work something out versus dragging your tenant through the court process and having to put somebody out on the street and then having to re-rent your unit? Most people don't want to do all of that. I know I wouldn't. Now, I know full well also that if you're watching this video, you're probably already past the point where you've avoided the situation, but I thought I'd throw that in just in case. So if you have already been evicted or sent to collections for non-payment of rent, and you find that the after effects of these processes have torn your credit to shreds, and most importantly, made it extremely difficult for you to find another place to rent, then you've got some serious decisions to make. You can very well just decide to do nothing and wait the 7 years for the bad marks to fall off of your credit report and deal with the consequences of that choice. You can figure out the credit repair process and try to fix your own credit. This does work, and many people have been successful at it. or you can come to the professionals and let them do it for you. Now, I do represent a financial health and credit restoration agency, and we can work on addressing your credit issues for you. Now, while other credit repair agencies charge you for simple dispute services, we offer dispute services as well, but we also offer you a host of other credit restoration and financial wholeness products and services to get you both out of the negative situation that you're currently in, and then help you with your overall financial health and education, so that you don't fall back into the same situation down the road. Now, we call it a protection plan because it's designed to protect your overall finances and set you up for financial success in the future. And folks, we do offer these products and services for much of the time even less than the other agencies that are solely offering just dispute services. And as you can see here, you can start for as low as $49 a month. Now, we also offer additional services that can help you get your credit back on track so that you can go out there and confidently apply for whatever property you want without having the stress of whether or not the stress of worrying about whether or not your application will be denied for unpaid debt. And you can go ahead and get on this journey to financial clarity. Guys, us regular folks out here have got to get this credit and financial planning thing down, and we need to do it in a hurry. I have no idea what's coming next for us, but whatever the future holds for us, I'll bet everything that it's going to be better for those of us, yes, us, because I'll be there. It'll be better for those of us who can face that future with as much financial stability as we possibly can create, and proper planning and credit cleanup is just the beginning. So you've got to ask yourself, are you ready to jump in and start doing the work? Or are you content to just go ahead and sit on the sidelines and just keep doing research? Only you can answer that question. All right, guys, so that's it. That's all I have for you today. Please do remember to thumbs up this video, click that notification bell to be alerted when my next video drops. Click the link below to subscribe to the channel, as well as learn more about our credit restoration services. I do want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.